Did you hard pin them? It seems like they're different. The tracks are different.
These are coming off separate outputs on the laptop. So on this MacBook, I have the headphone out as an out, but also if you do USB audio out, that shows up as a separate out on here. So Ableton is running from the USB out, and
no, but I guess what I'm asking.
I got you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, just let me know if you can.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah. It's off of this right here.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah, I'm done.
You want to play? You don't need a picture?
Extra chair.
Yeah, they're behind it. Matter of fact, get
Oh, they're back here in the closet.
Can we get two? Trey, you want to share?
Yeah, I'll take a stool.
Can we get three?
Eric, you want to share?
Please, yeah. You want a hand?
Three.
What?
Never mind. I thought about it. Chair's good. Short answer is yes. I'll take a chair. Thank you. Do you have a stool? No, we don't have a stool.
We got stools.
I'll stand.
No, this
I got
is
this
back
right here.
Okay, cool. No, I mean, that's cool. That's probably cool.
You want that chair?
Sorry, no, it's Trey, so.
No, this is
Chairs on there for this guy. Your voice is this disembodied voice.
Right. That's.
Yo.
Yeah, it's still. They're still different, Chris.
Were you setting up the board?
Yes, I will over there.
Damn.
Turn.
Oh, yeah.
Unlink them. Turn one up.
So, this is real
Turn one up.
That's a tight setup.
Jerome about to end the
Oh, you need
set.
help?
Yeah.
I'm really not.
Jerome about to. Hey,
They're
so,
running an extra
Chris,
Let's go with the call.
I'm tagging it.
I'm just serving the voice of God today.
Testing, testing.
Okay.
We there?
Are we good to go?
Good morning, folks. Thanks for attending and watching. Our employer visit today is with nothing but illustrious guests, and probably one of the more illustrious employer guests we have are the folks from New Wave, Anya and Nick. As you see, they have set up a real situation here for those interested in doing live sound. And so without any further ado, I will introduce Nick.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Thank everybody for showing up here. As Robert has said, we're from New Wave Audio. I'm Nick Bain. That is Anya Williams right here. A little bit about New Wave. We've been together for 2 years. Prior to us being together, we ran separate companies that supported each other, 6 years, 7 years, respectively. And then one day we just got the call to say it's time to team up. And so we did. And we provide audio video services for small events, large events. And what you see behind you here is a representation of something that we do a few hundred times a year. We have some contracts with some agency bands, and so a lot of times we will deploy with the bands. We will provide the sound. We come into different and various scenarios, weddings, private residences, ambassadors' houses, things like that. And this is something that we do on a regular basis. So every time we come here to Omega, we bring a band with us because it's a very good indication of what you almost will definitely do if you come to work for us. Now, we do corporate events as well, and we do a lot of them. But at this point, it's probably about 50-50 now between the agency bands and the corporate type of events. And so for us to be able to give you guys an understanding of what it looks like, we bring a band here with us. And let's see, last year we did about 300 events, and about a little bit less than half of those was this right here. So what we generally do is talk a little bit about ourselves, ask you guys if you have any questions, and then at that point, we let the band play, and we give you kind of just an overview of what it looks like. We have some wireless tablets over here that we'll be using to actually mix, and so that's what we use. So if you look around, you may not see the board. It's behind us. It's in the rack. You don't see any monitors on the floor because they're all wearing in-ears, and this is typically the setup that we do when we deploy with the bands. So before we get started, any questions from anybody here? No. All right, cool.
What would a student at Omega have to have qualification-wise to be hired by you guys?
So the question says, what would a student from Omega have to have qualification-wise to be hired from us? And the answer would pretty much be you have to graduate the program. We've worked with enough of the graduates at this point that we know that by the time you go through the program, you have enough base knowledge, especially if you're going through Neil's live audio program, you have enough of the base knowledge that we can work with it from there. Once you come work with us, we do train you. Before we go out and deploy to any gigs, you'll go through a training session with us just so you can understand our way that we do things. We have a system, we have certain equipment. So before you get on site and so that you're not seeing this stuff for the first time, once you get on site, we bring you over to the warehouse, we'll do a setup similar to this. The difference is at that point, you'll be hands-on setting it up, breaking it down. You'll be hands-on plugging in and doing the in and outs. You'll be hands-on with the routing and changing the different routing and everything like that. That way that you are empowered with the knowledge to say, okay, we know how to operate this system that we've built, because the system that you see here, we've duplicated this enough times so that when we have 3, 4, 5 bands playing at the same time, they're all using the same type of system. I mean, it's different equipment, but it's the same system, all the same boards. So we're all using the same mixing software. And if you have your own tablets or your own mixing software, it all plugs in together. So they're all speaking the same language. Once you come from Omega, you come to us and we make sure, okay, cool, you know audio, but let's make sure you know New Wave audio. And then that way we can ensure you for success. Any other questions?
How often are your training sessions?
How often are the training sessions? So generally, we will do an event like this, and we'll get some interest. And once we get enough interest where we can put a full class together, we'll do a training session. There are times during the year when we get other interests. Some people that work with us will talk to their friends and talk to other colleagues that they have. And once we get enough people together, we'll put another training session together. So how many have we done this year?
I believe well, entry level ones, I believe 2, right?
Two. So Anya said we've done 2 entry level trainings, because we also do another internal training amongst our own staff. So you come in and you're coming in kind of as a general audio video, maybe an A2. But once you work with us long enough and you express, hey, I want to move up, and we can see that you can grasp the understanding of what's necessary to move up, then we'll do a separate training. So we have separate trainings that these are people who've already been with us for a while, or if you come in and you just already have a very good mindset and an understanding of what audio is, then there's a next level training as well. So I think at this point we've done 1 or 2 of those next level trainings.
And some one-on-ones as well. Like
And one-on-ones.
Some people will come in and say, some one-on-ones as well. Some people will come in and say, hey, I need work in this area. I just did one 2 weeks ago or something like that. Somebody was like, hey, I need help in this area. As long as I'm available, we're training. Our goal is to get you guys to where you want to be, not necessarily where we want you. We try to do a good job of saying, hey, where do you want to be, whether it's with us or in the industry. And if you're expressive as far as I want to be here, I want to be doing this, our goal is to get you to that point. So we've had people come in and say, hey, I'm weak in this area, or I want to grow in this area, and I'll do a 2-hour one-on-one with them, just answering every question or going through whatever they want to do. We've also done, like Nick was saying, the next level training where we'll bring in, I think last time it was 3 individuals who expressed they want to be A1's lead on site. So we did like a more intensive training so that they're prepared to show up on site and run the show. What else? Any questions about that? No. Any more questions? Any more? Yeah, go ahead. What's your name?
RF. RF.
Arif?
Yes.
Arif.
So you mentioned you guys do audio and video. So I think I have a general idea of what you guys do as far as audio is concerned. What about video? Are you just more audio centric, or also do a lot of video work as well?
Great question. So the name is New Wave Audio. We are both audio engineers by trade. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So the question is, we mentioned that we do audio and video. And are we more audio centric? What do we do in terms of video as well? So great question, Arif. Thank you very much. Of course, our name is New Wave Audio. We're both audio engineers by trade. But we've also both worked in the AV industry long enough to have cross-trained and learned other things as well. So when it comes to doing audio and video side of it, it's different in various ways that we do it. So there are times when we will take on a project and it may be a little bit more than what we want to do for ourselves, by ourselves. So we'll partner with another company and we'll bring them in. But in those instances when we do, we still act as the technical directors on site, We're still acting as the lead video operator, not operator, but more so giving the direction to say, okay, this is what we do. But in a lot of times in those situations, we'll delegate. So we do have the ability to do streaming. We do have the ability to do different and various graphics on site. I work at a lot of churches, and a lot of churches use ProPresenter for their graphics, and so I'm very well versed in ProPresenter. Also, I've worked with a lot of churches on the streaming side as well. So there's different and various streaming platforms that we do. And prior to last year, I was actually working at the Securities and Exchange Commission in their broadcast department. So the different and various ways that we broadcast for government type of publications, I'm understanding of it. I know how it works. In terms of what we're doing on our own, a lot of times we'll get these contracts and we'll look at who we have in-house, we'll look at the equipment that we have in-house, and then we'll look to our partners and we'll say, okay, cool. Maybe I need to rent gear from you, but I don't need the personnel. Maybe I want gear and personnel, or maybe I want to take this whole video side and I'm gonna just kick that to you, but we're still gonna run the entire production. So what that means is oftentimes we'll be doing camera work. There's other times when we will be doing the graphics and things like that, and as well as streaming. We'll do, that's a bulk of what it happens, what we do when we're doing when we're not doing just audio and we're doing the whole production. That's a big bulk of what we do: camera work, graphics, and streaming.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Are your employment opportunities full and part-time or contract, or what? If I'm an employee, what am I classified as, or what can I be classified as?
Sure. So at the moment, we just contract with everybody. We bring you on as 1099 contractors, and which allows you a lot of freedoms for yourself. It also allows you the ability to go and contract with everybody else. We understand the industry and we know how it works, and we know that when you're an employee, you're gonna try to get as many gigs as possible, and so that's fine. That's fine with us. What we try to do to compete with that is we try to be a great place that you would want to work. You know, you come to us, we're gonna make sure we're properly compensating. Both of us, we've been technicians before, so we've been in that position. We've seen the things we like, we've seen the things that we didn't like, and when we built our company, we said, well, we want to build it in a way that we will want to work there as well. So everybody comes on 1099. There's a couple of positions that we have, like in our warehouse or stuff like that. We look for drivers as well, but even still, those are more contracted positions. At some point in the future, we'll be looking to do like a full-time type of deal, benefits and all that kind of stuff. But at this point, everybody's 1099 contracted.
How much?
Go ahead, Aiden.
What do you do as far as lighting? Do you usually leave that to other people if the venue or the client wants lighting?
It's a good question. So every time we've come here, except for this time, we've also brought some lighting trees, because when we deploy with the bands, lighting is a part of the package. And so just some small little lighting trees, band washes. We can do different things with them as far as colors and strobes. And if you're like Anye, at some point you'll really get into putting on a full light show for the bands, because he just loves to do that. In terms of the bigger scale lighting, so we're in the moment, actually we're building our lighting department. We're currently going through the process of purchasing the equipment. We have some personnel in mind that we're looking to kind of hire to run that. But when we get lighting opportunities, again, we have partners. So we have partners in the industry that just do everything. So where we see hey, if we want to do this and we want to do it great, it's probably a good opportunity for us to bring somebody else in. So we'll partner with them. But we're also in the process of building up our own lighting department. You do
I think
lighting?
that question was asked because recently, the company Four Wall
Yes.
has had an opportunity to, has extended an opportunity to have some of our students and graduates train with them, and they have a training at the end of August.
Gotcha.
And the people that are going to come to you are probably those who were a part of that training are going to come to you with additional skill sets.
And we will accept them with open arms. Well, yeah, we know Four Wall. We're on site with them a lot. It's yeah, the industry's small, so we know them. We know them well. Yes.
I changed my mind. I'll address that.
Do you want to address this? Okay. Well, none other than an Omega graduate himself. You call him the General?
I call them the general.
Robert calls him the General. We call him Vernon Jackson, VJ, or just the man, Vernon himself. He's gonna come up here and address your question. Come on, Vernon.
Good morning, Vernon Jackson. I am a graduate of Omega. When I did graduate, my first employment was with a company called Atmosphere. And pandemic hit, everything shut down as far as Atmosphere goes. And when they came back on board, shortly thereafter, they were sold to a company called Four Wall. I also worked with Four Wall and did lighting. In the meantime, I got hip to these gentlemen because I wanted to do more than just lighting, and now I'm doing audio engineering. And these guys are great. These guys are great. If you have a decent, not a great attitude, but a decent attitude and a good work ethic, these guys are great. As far as pay goes, like Nick said, I am a contractor. I'm not a Social Security, taxes, whatever, you know. That's all on me with the 1099. So, and I'm cool with that. I don't work every day because I'm retired. If you see all this gray, you know, I got a little time on me. So they allow me to work when I want to work. So it works out for me wonderfully. And I guess that's it.
Thank you very much. Vernon Jackson, the General.
The General. Put some respect on his name.
Aiden, do you do lighting, or you going to that training?
I did not know about the training. I wasn't here for the last job thing, but I will definitely take that opportunity.
You didn't read your email.
No, I didn't. But
You don't read email, you can't work.
but we've done a couple classes in here with Neil on lighting so far. I have light experience with just some fader lighting, some nothing fancy outside of here, but I did enjoy working on it when we were doing it in class. So
Gotcha.
but
Gotcha.
I've mostly been doing sound.
Copy that. Well, when it comes to the lighting, we've purchased uplights because it's something that a lot of people ask for. So we do that. And like I said, we have the stage lights that we deploy when we go with the band. And then any other time when we're doing like big stage washes with Lecos and truss and all that other kind of stuff, we just rent that gear. So, and we outsource if we need to. Yeah. So who's a current student now? Okay, cool. Everybody with one. All right, cool. And around what time graduation is for you all?
Next July 15th.
July, October, January, July,
Your amp.
October.
I graduated.
Your amp.
I saw the hand was down. Got you. Cool. You sir? January. Okay, cool. So after the last time we were here, we had a lot of interest from students who were still in school. And so we've been trying to work with Robert just to make sure that we do that the way that it needs to be done. So I know that some of you are January next year and October and things like that, July next year. But we are working just to make sure that all of that is done in decency and in order in the right way so that you all are still heavily encouraged to finish school, but also give you opportunity to maybe come on site with us as well. So.
Is it 5 days a week or what?
So we take gigs anytime. We gig, the majority of the gigs are the weekends. But there's also, I mean, of the weekdays.
We generally have corporate events.
And I was thinking something like Tuesday and Wednesday seems to be like a heavy corporate event weekday. So, but definitely the weekends, definitely in the fall. This fall coming up, if I did have hair, it would be falling out right now because it's
traveled as south as far as Woodbridge and north as far as, at least me, I have, to just outside of Baltimore, just on the north side of Baltimore.
So as south as South Carolina and as north as New York. New York, yeah. And as west as Pittsburgh. And fortunately, unfortunately, we're in Pittsburgh a lot. I mean, I say a lot because that's a drive, and it's up the mountains. But, I mean, most of the times that is with the bands. So the bands will get booked out there, and we'll go out there with them. Any questions for us? Go ahead. We do. And I'm going to address that. Go ahead, Neil.
I understand you also rent out stuff, maybe because I have a graduate of the school who was mentioning that she had a gig and she was able to rent gear from you, or is that not true?
That is true. I don't know who it is either, but it definitely happened.
Maybe Jasmine?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we do rent gear. And when you work for us, we give you a little discount to rent gear. So, and as far as, to answer your question, so we pay every week and it's 2 weeks in the arrears. So for example, if we were paying you all for something you did today, it would be 2 Fridays from now, which is, what's my math looking like? The 20, whatever is 14 days from now. There you guys go. 23rd, somebody back then. Yeah, thank you, Chris. So yeah, and the way that we, when Vernon was up here, he says that we allow him to work when he wants to work, which made me think about the program that we use. Right now, the way that we schedule our jobs is through a platform. It's called When I Work. So when you come to us, we bring you in, we go through the training, we look at you, we say, okay, cool, we're a good fit for each other. Then you register through the platform When I Work. Once you register through that platform, that's where all the gigs get placed. And it's a first serve basis. And a couple days ago, one of the new guys he told me, he was like, man, I gotta really look at my phone. These gigs get picked up fast. I said, hey, they do. But right now, August is slow. So it may seem like, oh, I gotta really check. But like again, September, October, November is very busy. Something like 4 and 5 events on a Saturday each weekend in September and October. If I sound excited about it, sure, yes. So there's work, and all that stuff gets posted in When I Work, and it will all be sorted to you all based on the level of which you are comfortable and we're comfortable saying, okay, we can expect for you to do a A1 or a GAV or a A2, or like I said, once we get the lighting department and stuff like that, driving, we have different driving shifts and stuff that's available too. So that's that. Yeah, go ahead.
What kind of introductory positions or roles would we be filling joining your team if we, got through the whole process?
Great question. Where would you guys come in? What's the introductory role? And Anya is saying custodial duties at the warehouse. You would, so you come in today. You say, hey, man, well, we want to work with you guys. And we say, all right, cool. We invite you to the training. You come to the training, and you do good at the training. You show a good understanding of just basic audio video because Neil has taught you so well. And you come in here, and we are able to just polish that and show you how we do things just here because it's just a little bit different. Everybody does something different. And then at that point, we would pair you with a lead. So you would probably come in, and you would be doing we call it GAV. Some people call it A2. But it's pretty much when we roll up on site, you'll be helping us push the equipment in, and then we'll be more so, there'll be someone on site that will more so guide you to say, okay, we're going to put our sub stacks here. We're going to put our speakers on top of that. Okay, cool. Can you put the rack back there? All right, can you set up for guitar over here and all that kind of stuff? So you will be more so following directions on site, immediate directions on site that are given to you by the lead. Once we get to a place where, as leads, we get feedback from all the leads, and the leads will be like, hey, this guy's really good. You know, I told him to go do this thing, and before I could even tell him, he was already looking at it. He saw the system. He was already going to the next thing. Then we say, all right, cool. We bring you in, and we say, hey, do you want to move up, possibly be a lead? If you say yes, then there's other trainers and stuff that you go through. And eventually, once you get to be a lead, then you'll be the person, a lead on site, that will be now giving the direction to the people that come in. But you would most definitely come in as a general audio video and almost immediately be placed on one of these type of events. I say this every time I come here, and I'll say it again. There's a few reasons why we bring you to these events. Like I said, we do hundreds of them. They're very rinse and repeat. Same personnel. Once you're with a band, like the band is generally the same. And the audience, most times, is at the bar. So it's, you know, they're almost every event that we're doing with these bands, there's an open bar, and there's something else that's happening that is taking people's attention away. Like, some people are going to be dancing, sure, but there's other people that are talking in the corner, and it's just a lot of stuff going on. So it's less pressure from an audio point of view. You don't have to be as correct, you know, and people are really there to have a good time. So, you know, as long as the band sounds good, which as long as they're turned up, you'll hear them. They sound good. We're not making them sound good. We're just making sure that you can hear them properly. So it's bringing you in with the bands is a easy way for you to get in and get experience, but it also allows you to not have so much pressure. And it allows us also to have more time to put one-on-one training with you. When we're in corporate events and we're doing, you know, a panel and there's 7 people and they all got lives on stage, that's not the time for us to be saying, hey, let me show you how this works over here. That's the time when we're chasing frequencies, we're catching, you know, killing feedback, all of that kind of stuff. We don't know who's about to talk, and it's very precise. These band gigs, much more laid back, and it's just a better format for you to get your experience up and for us to be able to teach at the same time, and it's just less pressure. So almost always you'll start there. Go ahead.
How many people do y'all have for like a bar show versus like a conference event?
Cool. So these bands, I say that they have open bars. So they're agency bands. And a lot of times they're weddings. So, and they're wedding receptions. So if a typical wedding reception will have 2, maybe 3 people. Now, sometimes we do the wedding reception, we do the ceremony, we do the dinner, and we're doing sound for the whole entire program. Each time we're doing a separate system, so to speak. So if we have the wedding reception in this room, we have the ceremony in that room, and we have the dinner in another room, we're going to add more techs. I think the most I've ever seen for weddings, 4? Yeah. And so, and that's so that you can have one tech over here operating the ceremony, one tech over here that's building the dinner set, and these 2 techs over here are building the reception set. And it's only because time is always crunch time. So, which is another reason why we bring you into the wedding set, because when we do corporate events, a lot of times the setup, we have more time for a setup. So this is a way where you learn quick, you move at a fast pace, but also once we get set up and once the band gets going, then it's like, all right, cool, calm down, let's show you some stuff, that kind of thing. But usually no less than 2 and not really more than 4, depending on what the gig requirements are.
Hi, Chris. Long time listener, first time caller. So, you did a lot of talk about the training programs that you have for new employees that come into the New Wave audio system. I'm curious, with you training up the next generation of sound techs, they'll eventually grow, become A1s for your company, and then, you know, inevitably they'll branch off into their own venues. But do you do anything to cultivate the creative side of live AV? And if so, how do you balance that with the technical knowledge that you also impart?
Chris is my really good friend. We go way back. That was a good question, Chris. I appreciate that. Chris Lewis, everybody. Look him up. Look him up. So, do we do anything to cultivate the creative side of AV? And how do we balance that? Well, I think the first thing that I would say, the way that we would help to cultivate the creative side of AV is you're going to be in a lot of different types of scenarios, from the band and the agency kind of scenario to the corporate side of things to the one-offs that are kind of in between. And you're going to be around a lot of great creatives, especially when you're working with the bands. And I would like to say that 2 of our current employees who have been with us for long enough to see how agency bands have worked, who've decided to start their own agency band, I would like to say that we had a little bit to do with that. At least I like to think that we did, in terms of just putting them into place so that they can see it and they can see, hey, I can do that. I can play this instrument. I can, you know, we know some singers, and they were able to see it. They were able to do it enough times that they were able to spark some creativity within themselves. I know that I'm pretty sure a lot of you all are musicians. It seems like every time we do this, there's musicians in the room. And we are also musicians at heart ourselves. I'm a singer-songwriter. Anya is a songwriter. We both have done different various areas of production in music before we decided to start a music company. So our heart is definitely in the creativity. And we like to put you in places where you can learn. Now, in terms of how do we balance that, that's a really good question, Chris. I guess I've never thought about how we balance it. Oh, you got it?
Cool. I'm very, very big. So I do a lot of the technical training for our staff. So Nick does a lot of upper management, kind of business driving. I do a lot of personnel development, training, technical work. So speaking specifically to his question, I am it's interesting. We're in a world where we have to be technically precise, but I'm very hesitant to push the technical side until the creative piece is there. In other words, I want you guys to be expressive of who you are before we load all these technical things on top of you. So when you guys come in, it's very important for me to say, hey, where do you want to be? What do you want to learn? Let's get you there. But bigger than that, it's, are you on time? Are you well dressed? Are you well mannered? What is your creative flair? What is your creative element? Let's build on top of that. Let's work on your strengths and add technical sides on top of that. So in terms of his question, how we balance it is, I try not to take the creative side out of you with technical knowledge. I try to let you be you, and then technically figure out how to sharpen that part of you, that creative part of you. That's very big for us, is because if you're with us, we don't want you to lose who you are. We don't want you to become robots, right? We want you to be an extension of us. We want you to represent us well, but we also want you to be you. People are gonna like you. There's people right now who ask for certain people. I kind of take it. I have to kind of swallow my pride a little bit. There's clients that ask for certain texts that are not me, and because they enjoy them, right? And I'm kind of like, well, dang. I mean, I started the company, like they should be asking for me, but it's because they are themselves. They're not me. They're not a carbon copy of me. They are themselves, but they have added the technical sense to now be sharp in their role, in who they are. I think that's kind of where you were going with that. But we try to do a very good job of just, if not being overly technical, but still giving you everything you need to succeed. Any? Yep.
Big question: how much can I make? How much am I going to get paid?
Well, I'll give that to Nick, Money Man.
Copy that. So once you graduate, put that out there. Once you graduate, we start our GAVs off at $25 an hour. So that's pretty much about the lowest that we pay once you're graduated, and then it goes up from there. Our A1s are between 35 and 40 based on skill set. Technical directors, 45, 50. And it doesn't, who do we have higher than a technical director? Right. And then, yeah, so we have like production managers, and a lot of times the production managers is more of a, like a day rate type of thing. And for those of you all who don't understand day rates is pretty much a negotiated amount of money for a 10-hour spot. And then after the day rate, there's different and various ways that people do it. A lot of people do time and a half after 10 hours. A lot of people do double time after 15 hours, and it's all based on whatever that day rate is divided by 10. That is the quote unquote hourly. So time and a half after 10 is the hourly times 1.5. But yeah, that's how it goes. As far as lighting and video goes, where a lot of we don't have anyone on our staff that's just lighting. We don't have anyone on staff right now that's just video. So a lot of times there may be a time where you're A1, but for this gig, you might slide over here and do a video type of thing, but you're still just making the same A1. Once you get to your rate, whatever your rate is, even if you're not working at that rate. So if you're A1, but the gig calls for A2, but you're the one who's assigned to the gig, you're still making your rate, even though it's not an A1 rate, if people understand what I'm saying. So, but it starts off at 25.
Don't forget the other perk. If the band gets fed, we get fed.
Oh yeah. So when you go to these band gigs, it's almost always food. Like 90-something%. Oh yeah. He is talking about that. So yeah, tips, we don't take those. So those are y'all's. So you're on site and you get a tip. Usually the lead person on site will make sure that it's broken down properly for however many people are there. But yeah, a lot of the bands, a lot of the gigs, especially with the bands, they'll tip. And a lot of times it's cash in your pocket.
This doesn't happen all the time, but the craziest one I heard, I don't know if you have a crazy one, but craziest one I heard is somebody came and paid the band to do, I think it was like another 30 minutes or something like that, gave every single person $1,000. No, not lying, not joking. That was probably the craziest one I've seen. A lot of what you'll get is $50, $100, stuff like that. But there's been some. I mean, most of the events that we're doing are very high-end weddings or corporate events. Very seldom do we do kind of middle of the road or low-end events. Most of them are people with lots of money. So you're at nice venues, and people are just waiting to have fun, and they're having fun, they're drinking, and they're like, hey, let's do some more, you know. So there's some perks like that, especially when you're working with the bands. Cats like these are you guys really wouldn't know because they don't carry themselves like that, but these guys are accomplished, like these cats up here. And really most of the people that we work with are phenomenal. So you'll hear some good stuff today. We kind of want to get out of their way, let them get going, let them get playing, and then we'll answer some more questions afterward. But I'm going to let Jero introduce them because they're technically his band. So this is Jero with the Jero Williams Experience. This is his band, so I'm going to let him come up, say a few words, and get the band going.
Thank you, Anye. Thank you, Nick. Good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for having us here today. We were actually here a few months ago doing the same exact thing. For me personally, I am a singer-songwriter from right here in Alexandria, Virginia. Been gracious enough to be on this journey for almost 20 years. Been almost 20-year career for me. Won a few awards, but none of that be possible without these guys behind me. So, you know, definitely want to give them the flowers that they so graciously deserve. I mean, like Anye said, some of these guys up here are Grammy nominated, have played with Grammy nominated, you know, artists, Grammy award winning artists. You name the award they've been nominated for. They play some of the biggest venues, not just in the DMV, but nationwide, worldwide. I'm not going to hype Chris up too bad, but he was actually just in London a few months ago with WizKid producing his show. So I'm always gracious the fact that Chris can fly halfway across the world, do one show for an artist, and then come back and play a show with me. So, you know, all these guys have done that. So, you know, real quick, I'm also here kind of as a consultant. I am not singing today because I currently am recovering from a vocal injury. Go figure. So, but these guys are here to kind of give you guys a chance so you can experiment and you can work with the system. And then I'm here as well from a singer, band leader standpoint. So if you have questions about that, and there are things I do want to address later on after the set, because we are in a relationship together. This is a partnership, not just as audio engineers, but also as a band leader, as a musician, as the person who is kind of like the middleman between you, the engineer, and the client who booked us all to be on that event together. So I really want to make sure that I kind of hit that home as we're going into like the next half of the portion after you guys get a chance to experiment with the technology. So real quick, just want to introduce the band before they get started. So over on keys, that's Chris Lewis. Bass, that's Brandon Rutledge. Sax, Trey Sorrells. And guitarist, Eric Scherer. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and let them take it away, and then Anye and Nick will work with you guys, hand out iPads so you guys can work on the technology. But this is the JWX Jero Williams Experience.